I'm Julie Banderas, and you are in the strategy room. It is crunch time in Iowa. The candidates have just days to make their final pitches to Iowa voters before the caucuses on Monday. Taking a look at the latest Wall Street Journal poll in the state, Donald Trump in the lead with 32%, Ted Cruz in second with 25%, Marco Rubio next with 18%. And as you can see, Ben Carson and Jeb Bush rounding out the top five. But Iowa voters are known for waiting until the very last moment to make up their minds. And with a compelling debate last night, could we be in for a surprise in the Hawkeye State? Joining me now to weigh in are Jeanne Zaino, Professor of Political Science and International Studies at Iona College, and Pidot, CEO at American Civics Exchange. Welcome to you both. All right, so a lot of people have been talking about the effect, the Trump effect. The elephant not in the room last night, and how much could that help or hurt, namely help some of these candidates, specifically in Iowa, as a lot of these candidates are saying you turned your back on Iowa and Iowa voters. And Iowa voters, if they do indeed make their minds up at the last minute, may watch last night, and they may see a Marco Rubio or they may see a Jeb Bush that fascinates them a little bit more. What say you on last night's debate and the caucus?
You know, I think the big question going into Monday is, is Donald Trump, is Ted Cruz, are these people able to get their voters out to the caucus? I mean, one of the problems for the leader on the Republican side, if it's Trump and the leader, or at least even Sanders on the left, is that they are appealing to voters who have never, in most cases, gone to a caucus. And a caucus is a huge amount of responsibility. It takes a lot of time. So getting them out is tough, and I think that's going to be the question. The higher the turnout, the more you're going to favor a Trump, the more you're going to favor a Sanders. The lower, you're going to favor more traditional, more establishment folks. So I think we could see a surprise. You know, they were saying there might be a blizzard on Tuesday in Iowa, so that would be after the caucus. But if it hits early, that could depress turnout, and you could see a surprise amongst those quote-unquote establishment folks.
That's very interesting.
The weather,
as far as the establishment folks, if let's just say that it did come down to establishment folks, then who is at the who takes the benefit there? Which candidate would likely benefit from establishment folks going out and
if establishment turnout outpaces the what do we want to call it, grassroots, non-establishment wing, then I think that favors Rubio, and that the only person other than Trump who's really consolidated any voting bloc is Cruz, and he's kind of consolidated that grassroots, more conservative, Tea Party-friendly, non-establishment wing. The rest of the non-Trump supporters all kind of split among the other more establishment players like Rubio, Christie, Bush, and the others. So if you have a more establishment-heavy turnout, either because of bad weather or because get-out-the-vote efforts really haven't been put in, we have to remember, too, that this is one of the biggest wild cards, the biggest unknowns, is how Trump's supporters are actually going to do getting to the caucus and successfully caucusing on Monday. He's spent very little on really anything to do with his campaign. That hasn't mattered in terms of the media because he has 100% media saturation coverage for free.
He got 2 hours of media coverage. I mean, he did it for 2 full hours, and 2 networks covered that.
But we don't know how much of a difference that may have on his get-out-the-vote.
I mean, Ronald Reagan was a celebrity, and everybody loved him, but he actually lost after he did not, he chose not to take part in that debate, and he lost the Iowa caucus. How much can weigh on the debate and this Iowa caucus? I mean, now let's also remember that Ronald Reagan also didn't hold, a fundraiser for wounded vets, which was a sold-out, packed-out house. So he did manage to attract a lot of attention. He, in fact, didn't have to share it with any of the other candidates. So do you think that the debate and Donald Trump not being there will hurt him at all in Iowa? Or are Iowans just so excited and pumped for him that it won't matter? You know,
I actually am one of the people who thinks it can potentially hurt him that he skipped the debate. You know, I do think that it does raise questions about, you know, not so much of whether he was scared to go to the debate, but of his judgment. You know, this is a time when you're supposed to be talking to Iowans about issues that are important to them.
Right.
He went and controlled his narrative, won the news cycle for 48 hours. He got to talk about what he wanted to talk about. But I really wonder if Iowans, when they sit down and they're talking to their neighbors like we're talking here, are going to say, hey, look, I don't know if this guy can be president, because, yeah, we see him on TV, but he hasn't spoken to us about about the issues that we care about. So I think skipping the debate was, you know, it was a risk. He may well come out ahead on it, but I still think it was risky.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say this. I mean, we look at the polls. We've seen them fluctuate. We still have a very long time out. But when you look at that poll and you see Ben Carson at the bottom, when he was the number 2, anything can change. Do you believe that perhaps any of the bottom here, specifically Jeb, I mean, he's at 4%. Now, this poll was taken a day before the debate, so a lot can change after a debate. How much of a surprise do you think we might see out of Iowa for Jeb Bush?
We could see a surprise, I think, for several of the lower tier guys if the Trump supporters don't get out. I mean, Trump may show roughly a third of Iowans supporting him, but we don't know whether they're going to be much more likely than other candidates to actually come out in caucus or much less likely. And if there are 10, 15, 20 points worth of Trump supporters to be divvied up among the other candidates, you could see Bush get into the top 3. You could see Christie get into the top 3. You could see Rubio get into the top 2. So I think it is almost completely unpredictable what's going to happen on Monday. And, of course, all the rest of this has simply been sideshow and pregame. None of the polls count. None of the TV ratings count. Frankly, none of even the money counts unless it translates into votes. Okay. And we're going to have to wait and see. It's very exciting. Jeanne Zaino, Pidot, thank you very much, Pidot, for talking to us. And for more on the 2016 presidential race, check out foxnews.com. I'm Julie Banderas. Thanks for watching.